Hi folks, yes, thanks for joining me. We're going to be talking about Shellshock, the new EC comic war anthology from Oni Press. Now, here's the thing. EC is the publisher that basically invented a twist-ending comic book back in the 1950s. And you'd think 70 years on, a war anthology would feel like a museum piece. It doesn't. This might be the strongest book Oni's put out since they revived the label. 4 brand new stories, 1 classic reprint, and not a single dud in the bunch. Let's get to it. So Shellshock #1 is 56 pages, full color, no ads, $8.99. It's a one-shot anthology built around a pretty blunt pitch. New wars, new soldiers, same old price to pay. And the whole book is held together by one idea: that mankind's oldest enemy is mankind itself. That's the EC formula in a nutshell, honestly. Their best books were never about clean heroism or easy victory. They were about fear, pride, cruelty, guilt, and the bill that always comes due when the shooting stops. And look, the creative lineup on this thing is stacked. You've got John Arcudi, Sean Martinborough, Michael W. Conrad, Albert Monteys, Julio Anta, David Lapham, Benito Cereno, Tom Fowler. Each story hits war from a completely different angle and a completely different visual style, and yet they all click together. That's rare for an anthology. Usually you get 1 or 2 good stories and a couple you skip. This one, I read all 5 straight through, and I stayed engaged the whole time. It opens with Scorched Earth by John Arcudi and Sean Martinborough, set in Afghanistan in 2002. Our lead is Corporal Rita Cruises, a short timer days away from going home, and she's stationed near a burn pit that's been blazing for weeks. The story kicks off with her frozen in fear as this burning, shambling corpse in her own fatigues stumbles towards her, croaking through a ruined throat. And there, Arcudi just tightens the screws. Fake outs, dread, paranoia. You think you know where it's going, and then the end hits like a truck. This one's not my highlight, but it does the important job of setting the temperature for the whole book. It tells you up front, this is not a heroic war comic. This is a horror comic that happens to be set in a war. And Martinborough's art, all smoke and shadow and dread, locks that tone in immediately. Now here's the one that got me. Christmas by Michael W. Conrad and Albert Monteys. Set during the unofficial truce in World War I, and I'm going to say it straight, this is the best story in the book. Conrad and Monteys take one of the most famous moments in human history, where armies on both sides set down their rifles on Christmas, and they do something genuinely moving with it. What I loved is how human it is. The narrator tries to make peace the moment the Americans and Germans first meet, and then he pulls out a cake his wife sent from home and gives it to the enemy. It's such a small, dumb, completely human gesture, and it says everything about how these soldiers share more in common than their governments ever wanted them to admit. The book spends real time building up sympathy for the German soldiers, making them people instead of targets. And then, because it's EC, it lands a subtle, twisted little ending that flips that warmth on its head. The art is the other reason this works. It draws emotion like almost nobody working today. And Shellshock 1,000-yard stares in one panel carries the same weight as a young soldier breaking down crying when he's handed a gift in the next. That's the whole tragedy of war in 2 panels. It's quiet, it's devastating, and it's the story I'll remember from this book a year from now. Then there's Blowback by Julio Anta and Dave Lapham, set in 1960s Cold War. A CIA scientist named Jeremy Davis is working around the clock on a weapon to take out Fidel Castro, and then a family barbecue pulls him away from the job. I'm not going to spoil where it goes, but it's got this weird dark comedy, almost Mad Magazine energy to it. Davis is a total jerk to his family, and once he's had a few drinks, he won't stop ranting about communism. Lapham's art goes big and exaggerated to match. Davis swaying and reddening, his face locked in this permanent scowl. It's the loosest, funniest story in the book, and it's smartly played right in the middle to give you a breather before things get heavy again. This one will probably divide people. It's over the top on purpose, but I had a good time with it. And then we hit World of the Wars by Benito Cereno and Tom Fowler. And folks, this is where the art in this book goes absolutely off the rails in the best way. This is the artwork standout, hands down. Where the other three stories are grounded in real history, this one flips to pure sci-fi. A whole history of alien races trying to make peace, failing, and then deciding to settle their disputes on Earth. Our planet is their battlefield. And that gives Tom Fowler a blank check, and he cashes every penny of it. You've got these massive Lovecraftian things battling it out in the seas, spiked alien tanks firing energy beams that turn human bystanders into piles of smoking bone, little insectoid creatures that strip the flesh off a person in seconds. It's horrifying to look at, and I genuinely could not look away. Fowler's line work is so distinct. It's grotesque and kinetic and kind of beautiful all at once. It's the one story in the book that could only exist as a comic. No other medium pulls this off. And Michelle Madsen's colors give the whole thing this otherworldly glow that sells the alienness perfectly. It might feel slightly out of place next to the three grounded war stories, but honestly, that tonal whiplash is part of why I loved it. It proves the anthology isn't playing it safe. And then the closer, Yellow, the classic EC story, reprinted straight from Shock SuspenStories #1 from back in November of 1951. Written by William M. Gaines and Al Fieldston, drawn by the great Jack Davis. And this is the one that genuinely surprised me. A soldier flees from war and ends up facing a firing squad, led by his own father. It's got all the chilling heft of a good Twilight Zone episode. Here's what really lands for me though. This story is over 70 years old, and it still hits. That's the whole argument for EC's legacy in one story. The style is obviously different. You can see in real time how much comic storytelling has changed in 7 decades. But the craft, the moral punch, it's undiminished. And Michael Atiyeh's color restoration deserves a special shout. The colors just pop off the page in a way that makes Davis's terrified faces land even harder. It's a perfect bookend. 4 new stories that prove EC still has teeth, and 1 classic that proves it never lost them. So, here's my verdict. This is a very, very good comic. I'll go 8.5 out of 10 on this. It's the kind of anthology where every story justifies its place, and that almost never happens. Christmas is the emotional high point. A war story that makes you feel for the soldiers on both sides before quietly breaking your heart. World of the Wars is the visual high point. Tom Fowler drawing monsters like his life depends on it. And Yellow reminds you why we're still talking about EC Comics 70 years later. My only real knock, and it's minor, is that World of the Wars is such a tonal left turn that it might throw some readers who came for straight war stories. But for me, that risk is exactly what made the book feel alive. If you like war comics, EC, horror anthologies, or just great genre storytelling, Shellshock should be on your pool list. Easy recommendation, 8.5 out of 10. That's it for today, folks. EC Shellshock #1 from Oni Press on shelves now. If you enjoyed this, hit that like and consider subscribing. I've got more comic and classic film reviews coming down the pipe. And speaking of things from another era, the Captain America 1944 serial rolls on with episodes 6 through 15 next. So make sure you're on board for that. I'll catch you there, and thanks for joining me.